Since the early 1980s at least, Joanne and I have worked with various Southeast Chicago and Northwest Indiana academic, governmental, and volunteer groups that have been focused on environmental, civic, and arts issues. Working with such groups, we learned a lot about regional resources and treasures that were not at all that well known to the general public, whose knowledge is defined by media conglomerates who either have little true sense of the areas they cover, or who have corporate-shaped reasons for restricting their reporting to mostly negative stereotyping of the Southeast Chicago and Northwest Indiana communities, especially those bordering Lake Michigan. Thus, it is hardly surprising that our communities have, for too long, been portrayed as Beirut on the lake. While it distressed us that media seemed anxious to report body counts, we had little hope of counteracting such massive media portrayal 30 years ago. However, more recently, new technology has expanded the opportunities for smaller producers to begin to tell more comprehensive stories, if we could only master those technologies and also decide what stories we might tell to counteract myopic horror stories. But what stories might we tell? Then in 2006, we took our annual road trip to the Washington, D.C. area, and serendipity caught up with us. While driving through Sydney, Ohio, we saw this terrific courthouse, which we decided to photograph. The surrounding trees challenged us, however, so I moved across the street, pressing against one of the town's commercial buildings to get a clear shot of the entire building. While I was setting up this shot, Joanne excitedly told me, "You must turn around and look at the building behind you," no doubt grumbling something along the lines, "What could possibly rival the courthouse?" I did turn around, and this is what I saw, once I had backed up far enough to take it all in. As Chicago architecture fans, we felt reasonably certain that we had found a Louis Sullivan creation, or a very skilled copy thereof. So we searched a bit, and this is what we found. Seeing the Ohio Historical Society plaque, we began to think more seriously about our region and possible ways to make its treasures visible. Soon we started focusing on one particular strategy that we believed might get things moving. We had been hearing rumblings of new technologies and industries that would be excellent for filling the economic vacuum that steel flight had created. The first decade of the 21st century was abuzz with the promise of green technology and its essential counterpart, green industry. Thinking in those terms, we realized that the Southeast Chicago community was far from ready to participate successfully in the anticipated new bonanza. The 21st century green gold rush was about to begin, and we had no mules, no shovels, no camping gear, and no way to differentiate between iron pyrite and true gold. So we thought that it might be a good idea to find ways to get the community ready. We decided that it would be useful to identify important features of the region that seemed useful to highlight for the public. Among those categories that we were able to identify, the green resources seemed most immediate to the ferment of that time. At a meeting of South Chicago Chamber of Commerce members, we discovered that Angela Herlock, Executive Director of Claretian Associates, was thinking along similar lines. That collaboration led us to begin the 10th Ward Green Summit under the joint auspices of Claretian, the South Chicago Chamber of Commerce, and the 10th Ward Alderman, John Pope. A key feature of that 10th Ward Green Summit, which began in 2008, was the Green Summit Tour, a series of bus tours with community experts, including the aldermen, as the guides. While the 2008 Green Summit was scheduled for only one day, it was filled with events, including the first Green Tour, which was conducted using a City of Chicago-type tour bus. After that, the 10th Ward Green Summit was redesigned as a one-month-long umbrella, featuring under its canopy environment-related events, scheduled as many a week as possible, but still with only one day of bus tours for the whole month. Those tours soon became the work of two community trolleys, really buses camouflaged as streetcars, vehicles that provided low-fare transportation to the transportation-poor parts of the community, a worthy task that nonetheless imposed expensive wear on them and eventually wore them out, leaving the community with no money for Green Summit tour vehicles of any sort. It was a calamity, but a calamity that sparked creativity of unexpected benefit. While the original Green Summit tours had featured temporary informational signs of paper that were posted on every green site possible, those signs became quickly faded by sunshine and were dissolved and or detached by Chicago's frequently wet and windy weather. Thus we searched and found better, more permanent material solutions. But until we discovered QR code, there seemed to be no practical way to continue conducting tours. However, once we had discovered both the improved material and QR tags, we resumed the tours, but in a vastly different way. Now there is no need for tour buses and guides. Instead, we have site-specific posters made of waterproof paper affixed with metal grommets for relatively secure fastening to a variety of surfaces and imprinted with graphics, text, and QR tags particular to each site, but linking to all of the tour's green sites via our Green Sites website. Thus, anyone with an iOS or other smart device that has QR tag reading software can visit one site, scan the tag, and immediately go to that site online where he or she may read the text, view any videos related to the site, and locate all of the other sites of that tour, as well as link to other tours we also have posted on our Calumet Region Sites Tours website. By the time we had completed our first series of green site postings, we also discovered a better material for site signage, a water-resistant foam board that we have been able to affix in more permanent form to many of the sites on our second tour, which is a public art tour. As you can see, the content portion of this signage device is simpler than the graphic-centered green sites poster signs. Its primary devices are the Public Art Tour logo and a specific site's QR tag. Given that the sample sign shown here is of the Steelworkers statue at Steelworkers Park, scanning that QR tag would lead the tourist to the actual website page. Thus, this particular site page is rich in video links. We have been fortunate over the years to have attended and recorded a series of meetings and events that featured community artist Roman Villarreal as he first proposed the statue idea, then kept the community informed as he gained support for the project, developed the model, showed us how to prepare such a large project for outdoor mounting, and installed the finished statue at Steelworkers Park. A video of the formal dedication is also included on that page. Many of our tour sites include video coverage of that sort, and that is true for each of the tours that we have on the website currently. These 3 tours currently feature a collective total of 72 sites, with more planned for the Green Sites Tour and the Public Art Tour sections. The top 3 photos from left to right feature aspects of one of the Blues Brothers Tour site's annual celebrations, while the long center document is of a Public Art Tour site's poster that we have prepared for display in area restaurants, businesses, and service organizations, while the lower left and right photos are of Green Sites tour pages on our Calumet Region Sites website. This slide presents a partial list of organizations and persons to whom we have given at least one of the tours. As this slide indicates, we plan to expand the Green Sites and Public Art Sites tours. We also plan to add to our Calumet Region Sites website tours of ours that have not yet been published, and to create new tours as suggested by this list. To share questions and/or comments with us, please correspond with us at this email address. Thank you.